That evening, Mama Nkeiru washed Mona's hair with warm water and soap. He was calm again. He hummed. As he wiped him dry, she whispered, "No one is casting you out of this house. Not spirit, not soul, not even me." He didn't answer. He never did. But he turned and placed one hand on her shoulder. No flapping, no stone, no echo, just stillness. And sometimes stillness says, "I held you." It happened during the first rain of the season, not the season drizzle that dances and disappears, but the full one, the one that carries thunder in its belly and drapes from the rooftop like a salmon. That afternoon, Mama Nkeiru had closed her shop early. She could feel the rain coming in her nails. Mona was inside, rocking gently on the edge of the bamboo bed, humming his usual tune, that three-note melody that had no beginning, no end. And then came the knock, not sharp, just fast enough to carry fear. It was Chisholm's mother, her eyes wide, her wrapper falling from one side. She was barefoot. "Mama Nkeiru, please, is Chisom here?" Mama Nkeiru looked up, surprised. "No, why? She didn't come back from school today. They said she followed some people down the slope behind the football field. I don't know if she entered the bush or somewhere. I have checked everywhere. Please help me." Within minutes, the whole village stirred. Torches were lit. Men gathered, shouting. The rain was still falling, gently but steady. Chisholm's name echoed through the compound like a ditch. "Oh, Mona, he was by the window, watching. You mean?" Then he stopped. He got up, opened the door slowly, and stepped outside into the rain. "Mona!" Mama Nkeiru called, but he didn't turn. He walked barefoot through puddles, past the mango tree, to where the old cassava paths behind the school, the path that curved through the bush where the children were warned never to go alone. A few of the searchers saw him. They tried to stop him. He didn't respond, didn't sleep, didn't flap. He just kept walking, like something was calling him. And then, from the mouth of the bush, he stopped, bent low, and pointed. There, under a cluster of wet banana leaves, sat Jisum, crying quietly, her school shoes missing, shivering. The men rushed him, shouts, praises, tears. They picked her up, wrapped her in someone's shirt, and turned to Mona. But he had already started walking back. No smile, no pride, just the rain running down his cheek like baptism. That night, the village didn't speak much. Even those who had once called him spirit, those who crossed the road when he passed, those who told their children not to sit near him, they all watched in silence. That night, Mama Nkeiru fed him warm okra soup by lantern light. He didn't talk about the search, not like he knew what to say. He didn't mention Chisom. He just ate slowly, hummed once, then coiled beside the wall to sleep. By the next day, someone dropped something by the door. A basket with bananas, granuts, and some other items. "Thank you. We see him now." Mama Nkeiru held the basket. Tears flowed quietly down her wrinkled face. She didn't bother to wake Mona, but he saw her. She prayed out loudly. She just looked at him, that boy who walked like he was listening to stars, who pushed when others pulled, who echoed instead of answering. And she whispered, "Whatever word you came from, Mona, I'm just grateful you passed through me." It started small. After the rain and the night Chisom was found, a whisper that once caused Mona's name began to turn. Children who once mocked him started to wave at him from across the road. Not too close, not too familiar, but enough. A few mothers began to nod quietly and politely when he passed with Mama Nkeiru. When he flapped his hand too loudly in the market, instead of covering their children's eyes, they simply looked away. Some things take time, and time is something Mama Nkeiru has learned to carry like a calabash on her head. She never forced Mona to change. She never begged the world to clap for him. She just stood by him. And there kept culture day at school. Every child was asked to dress in traditional attire, recite a poem or sing a song. When the teacher asked Mona if he would participate, he echoed, "Would you participate?" She was about to mark him off the list, but then Jason raised her hand. "Let me stand with him." The teacher hesitated. Jason added, "He doesn't need to talk. I will do it. He will just hum." And that day, in front of over 60 parents, Jesus stood in an attire too big for her waist to carry. Mona beside her, flapping slightly, his eyes on the sky. She began to stammer through a poem about kindness. Every time she slaughtered, Mona would echo the line back, slowly, clearly, word for word, not mocking, not showing off, just helping. And when they finished, there was silence. No clapping or cheering, just a deep silence. The kind that comes when people see something they don't understand, but respect it anyway. Then someone clapped, then another, and the entire school rose. The upload that followed didn't fix everything. It didn't erase years of stares or heal the cracked looks Mama Nkeiru had received. But it planted something. Awareness, patience, a door slightly ajar. That evening, as they walked back home, Una was calm. No spinning, no shouting, just walking. And at the compound gate, he did something he hadn't done before. He looked up at Mama Nkeiru, right in her eyes, just for 1 second, then looked away again. But Mama Nkeiru saw it, that flicker, and it was enough. She placed a hand on his shoulder and whispered, "Whether or not the world ever claps for you, I already did." And Mona, he flapped his hand softly, then whispered, "Today we are learning vowels," and smiled. They say when a woman leaves a child behind, it's not always abandonment. Sometimes it's welfare. When Nneka returned to Lagos after dropping Mona in Umudim, she didn't just return to her house. She returned to her hustle. The same hairstyle where she made women beautiful while hiding the ache in her own chest. The same street where she had to smile to customers who thought her silence was arrogant. The same city that treated single mothers like incomplete stories, but something in her changed. Maybe it was the seniors in Mona's eyes. Maybe it was the way he laughed at shadows. Maybe it was the memory of his tiny hand trying to hold her chin. Whatever it was, Nneka refused to be poor again. She started waking up earlier, going to work before sunrise, and closing only when the last customer left. But that wasn't all. She began to learn. She took a weekend course on child development and early learning, paid in installments, borrowed a neighbor's tablet to watch YouTube videos on autism, Googled every term the doctors once used, printed pages, made notes. When her boss traveled and asked her to run the salon for 1 month, she excelled. Clients returned, sales increased. So her boss offered her a partnership, not out of pity, but out of performance. With a small loan and big vision, Nneka opened her own space, small but tidy. She called it Soft Hands Salon, and people came because Nneka didn't just dye hair, she healed hearts while doing it. By Muna's 7th birthday, she had enough money, enough courage, enough certainty. So she returned. She returned to Umudim unannounced, wearing jeans and a clean blouse, and confidence. Muna didn't run to her. He didn't hug her. He only said, "Mommy, if you touch my water bottle, you will die." Then laughed. And she laughed too, not out of shame, but out of knowing, because she understood now. That was just Mona echoing again. She thanked her mother, Mama Nkeiru, hugged her tightly, and kissed her. She packed Mona's things carefully and left with promises of visits, supply, and weekly phone calls. Back in Lagos, Nneka did not waste time. She enrolled him in a special needs center, small, warm, and full of teachers who understood that communication isn't always speech. He began occupational therapy, speech sections, sensory play. At first, he resisted. He screamed when the therapist touched his head. He cried when asked to hold a crayon. He threw a tantrum in the waiting room when someone sat in his chair. But they didn't force him, they waited. They learned him, and slowly, like dry season turning to rain, Muna opened. He began to respond when called. He looked at faces, even if it was just for seconds. He used flashcards. He clapped during circle time. He hummed less, but smiled more. Nneka was excited. She was fulfilled. She started a blog to share his journey. She spoke on radio once, She started a support group for mothers with children like Mona. She printed a t-shirt that read, "He's not possessed, he's brilliant, just give him time." By age 8, Mona could write his name. By 10, he had a routine. He still didn't like noise, still didn't hug, still walked on his toe when excited. But he had favorite books. A friend named Zeno who liked cars as much as he did. And he could not say clearly, "My name is Mona. I like clouds." Nneka wept the first time she heard it. Not because it was perfect, but because it was his. When they visited Umudim during the holidays, Mona didn't point anymore. Children no longer run. They wave. They ask questions. And Mama Nkeiru, she just sits by her shop, grinning like a woman who bet on the wind and won. She watched Mona's sketch drawings on the sand, watched Nneka sitting beside him, and said something softly. This boy came from a far place, but love built him a bridge. Mama Nkeiru, although now older, slower, but still sits in front of her small shop every morning, selling tom and other items and telling stories. And sometimes when the mothers complain about their child not speaking early, she laughs gently and says, maybe they are just learning to hear the word first. And when they speak, they will teach us how to listen. Mona didn't need fixing. He needed understanding. He didn't need deliverance. He needed room to breathe. He wasn't sent by spirit. He was born of love, just shaped by a different reading. And maybe, just maybe, that reading was a language only the brave could learn to dance to. His mother didn't give up. She got up. His grandmother didn't cast him out. She brought him in. And his village, well, they watched a boy they once feared become a boy they would one day quote. This is not a story of perfection. It is a story of presence, of patience, of powerful, ordinary people who chose to see light where others saw shadows. And maybe that's the message, that no all heroes shout. Some flap their hands, whisper old lessons, and stare at clouds until we learn to see the stars through their eyes. His name is Mona. He walked between words, and now he's teaching us how to build a bridge. Until I bring to you another interesting stories one life, please do well to subscribe, like, share, and comment on African Echoes by Wanne. Until then, bye, besties.